Lewis Herms, screwbiggov.com. On this, is this the last day of July? Next to last day of July, July 29th, 2026. You can tell when you're retired because you start forgetting what day it is. It's true. Family members, friends who have retired. Gee, what day is it? What is today? Oh, yeah, Wednesday. Got to look at the calendar. What is today? You forget because you're not reminded every single day of what day it is. Not that every day blends into another, but just lose track. All right, here we go. Lewis Herms, 5, 4, 3. I love people who speak out. I love people who are bold. I feel sorry for people who cower and never say anything. The people who sit in the back of the bus don't really want to get involved. I was never that kid riding on the bus. I was always sitting right up front. All the cool kids were in the back. I was nowhere near the cool kids. I was nowhere near the cool adults. I'm just not what you would consider cool. And I'm absolutely fine with that. I admire people who make things happen, especially putting it all on the line to run for office, especially if you decide you're going to go for the biggie. You're going to go for the brass ring. Well, Lewis Herms, you going to run for city council? You're going to run for board of supervisors? You're going to run for dog catcher? You're going to run for something small and work your way up? No, I'm going to run for governor of California. Oh, okay. And he did a great campaign. He got an RV, wrapped it. I've shown you photos. He's been on the show before. I've been at several events with him. He gets up there and he speaks boldly, speaks out, speaks against the man. So funny. We on the right used to be considered the man. Now we're fighting against the man, the real man, the central government, the power structure that unfortunately too many of us who cower and like to sit in the back of the bus because we want to get along, we want to be cool, or at least perceived as cool. So we're going to vote for Democrats because it's easy to be on the left. It's easy. Nobody will ever stand up to you. Nobody ever say anything until guys like me come along. Shut up about the silent majority. We found our voice. We're not going to be silent anymore. Not only that, but I think we have to step it up a notch. Yeah, guys like Sean Hannity, and he's been terrific. It was, starting off in the beginning, it was Rush Limbaugh and then Sean Hannity. They kind of blazed the trail for conservative media, at least on the radio. And he's always saying, oh, we don't boycott. Oh, we're above that. My own elected representative in my area, Tom McClintock, who I like him. I respect him. He's a constitutional scholar. He's a solid conservative. And he's always the one going, well, we don't want to be like them. We don't want to stoop down to their level. Dude, bring up Ilhan Omar on censorship or on impeach these different people. Bring them up on impeachment charges. See how it goes in the Senate. Can't get the Save America Act passed, but see how it goes. No, we don't do that. We don't act that way. We don't respond that way. We're not like them. Maybe you're not. I have a long history of being outspoken or being a smart mouth. Oh my goodness, I'm such a smart mouth. I've had to curb that as a believer and follower of Christ Jesus. I've had to curb not my enthusiasm. I've had to curb my sarcasm. That's it. But then along comes guys like Lewis Herms, runs for governor, didn't make it past the primary, and we'll get into that. He got it's freaky what happened with the primary election here in California. And I was begging you to go out there and please vote in the primary because we suck at it. We don't show up for the primary, and primary decides in California with our jungle primary. It's the primary election that decides who goes to the midterms, and that's who decides who's going to be running for office. And because of our jungle primaries, we often have times two Democrats running for the same office because we don't show up for the primary. We don't even seem to care about the importance of it, nor do we even realize. Our pastors don't talk about it. Our pastors don't encourage us to go out and vote. Man, I wish I could have known some of those guys during the revolutionary period of the United States of America when the Black Robe Regiment, they were the ones that you got your news from. They were the ones telling us what was going on. Pastors now are just weak, feckless, skinny jean wearing goofballs. Please forgive me, Lord, if that's a sin, talking against your people who you put in place, but I don't believe that the Lord has put a lot of them in place. I think that Jesus, what he told us, is coming true. He said, in the end, men will gather unto themselves men who will tell them what they want to hear, who will tickle their ears. He didn't say they'll infiltrate, they'll work their way in. He said, we will invite these people to head up our congregations. Wake up. Get involved. Be like Lewis. Screw Big Gov. That's the name of his website, by the way. And it's a good one, too. I love his website. There it is, screwbiggov.com. He's a filmmaker, too. He's made several documentaries, and most of them about child sex trafficking and telling the truth about what's really going on. He's an invaluable member of our society, and I like him. And I'm glad, if you've never seen him on my show before, that you're going to get to see him now on Do Not Talk. By the way, before I bring in Lewis, do me a favor, please, and go to my website and buy something. You'll be helping this show stay on the air. The show costs me money to put on. And I'm not on YouTube, not on Facebook anymore. I keep getting deleted, keep getting yanked. Got deleted from the platform completely, but by Facebook and Instagram, which of course is owned by Facebook. Let's talk about politics and religion. 20-ounce mug or 15-ounce mug for $20. That's a little over $1 an ounce. And I know, a lot, $20 for a mug. Charlie, I can go to Dollar Tree and get a mug. But you don't get one that says, let's talk about politics and religion, has my show name on it. And you'll be helping this show stay on the air. That mug, this hat, I got hats and shirts and all kinds of stuff there. This is my particular favorite. Trump was right about everything. Oh, there's one hat on there you need, Lewis Herms, called Make Pedophiles Scared Again. The fact that I just said pedophiles right now, by the way, instead of using some kind of code word or blanking it out or anything, any such crap like that, means this show will probably be deleted off YouTube. Screw YouTube. Thank God for rumble.com/do not talk. Rumble.com/do not talk. Not kidding. Go to my website, though, please, and buy some merchandise. You can also contact me through there. You can schedule me on the show yourself. That's how Lewis did it. So charliesimons.com is where you're going to be able to do all that and buy those things. Or just give if you can. Help support this ministry, please. It's been a while. Be nice if somebody made a contribution over there. And there's buy me a cup of coffee, buy me a tank of gas. In California, that's about $100 now. A girl can dream. So charliesimons.com. There you go. All right. Lewis Herms, are you ready? Hit it. Screw Big Gov. Screw it. Should I? Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to tell you about Lewis Herms. He's funny as heck. That's good. Yeah, you should we probably all should use Morse code.
It's safer.
I'm sorry about the primary. I'm sorry we didn't show up in numbers too big to ignore. I'm sorry that we were railroaded by our own California Republican Party to vote for Steve Hilton. I'm sorry that Chad Bianco got so targeted. I'm sorry that my president endorsed Steve Hilton. I wish he wouldn't have done that. I'm not saying he couldn't do it, but I wish he would have waited until after the primary. I don't know why he chose to do that, but there were so many good candidates. So many good candidates.
I agree. You
were as far as I'm concerned, and everyone around me here in Northern California, everyone we talked to, well, who are you thinking about for the primary? Lewis Herms or Daniel Mercury? It was split between you two guys, and you're so similar in your thoughts and beliefs and your boldness in speaking out. But we got attacked just for saying that from people in our own party. Oh,
Oh,
they can't possibly win. Well, you're right with that attitude. Are you even registered to vote, by the way? Are you even registered to vote? Well, I don't touch. Then shut up.
yeah.
Shut up. You're not even showing up. Shut up. But you and Mercury you had the same exact amount of votes, and it was far less than what many of the other candidates got that nobody had heard of.
Right.
Very telling to me that something very nefarious happened. Tell us about that.
Something was up, right? And it, and people use it as a bludgeon against me now. Why should I listen to you? You didn't even get that many votes. I'm like, well, if you understood the system, right? Um, the fact that Daniel and I had almost identical amount of votes, and
Mm.
I can tell you, I won't name the names, but I'd had a few people that I was in debates with, other gubernatorial candidates and even lieutenant gubernatorial candidates like Lewis. I don't understand your numbers. You should be way, way ahead of where I am, and you're way below. What's going on? So, those are people that were getting more votes that were contacting me saying something fishy is going on here. But ultimately, there's a couple things going on. At this moment, I cannot blame President Trump, the GOP, the Republicans, anything, because the elections are completely fixed. I mean, completely, they're absolutely trash. And it wouldn't have mattered. There is no way, based on who I am or based on who Daniel is, that we would have been elected under this system, is what we're finding out. Because it was definitely a system. So what happens is, I believe God absolutely puts me in certain places for certain reasons. So I didn't know exactly why I was here. I was just taking direction, be the disruptor, be the educator, right? So on and so forth. And now I happen to be the premier person involved in investigating the elections right now, because you have the unique ability to pull some records as a candidate that you cannot do as a voter.
I
So
hadn't
the
thought of that. I had not thought of that. You have all kinds of resources available to you, including research, and they have to disclose things to you, don't they?
Well,
As a candidate.
they should. So I can go through the story. So I intentionally targeted the election investigation for LA County. Why is that? Because the most public, obvious steal was the Spencer Pratt election. To me, that's
Yeah.
the most obvious one to the public. So I said, okay, let me go where the public has it is in the zeitgeist of what exactly is going on. So that's why I said, okay, let's go after LA County. And I knew I was going to be out of town, so I was lucky enough, or blessed enough to be introduced to a gentleman. He's actually running for senator in Florida right now. His name's Christopher Gleason, and he's an election investigator. He's actually the person, never got the credit for, but he's the person that exposed Act Blue and all their smurfing campaigns. He's the guy. So I signed him on as designee. What is designee? Designee means that he has the ability under my name, because that's a unique ability as a candidate, to pull records. And we started doing that within days after June 2nd. I didn't tell anybody this on purpose. So
No,
Chris,
you
Chris
can't,
and
because
other
they would have shut it
no,
down. They would have closed off your access.
exactly. So Chris and other people, we had boots on the ground, were investigating. And when you're ready, I can tell you what the investigation has come up with thus far. And people definitely need to be sitting down. This is a white knuckle ride, and it's only getting worse, or maybe better, depending on your perspective.
Did you ask if I'm ready? Is that what you
Are,
asked?
is you
Or you
and
said
your
if I'm ready?
audience ready for this? Because it is interesting. Get a good stretch out.
Go.
All right. So first thing is, the team noticed, and some other people, that there was at the counting center, when they were counting June 3rd, 4th ish, right there, a couple days after the election, that there was a pallet with a whole bunch of ballots named UAA. Why is that important? Because UAA is an undeliverable as address. That's what it stands for, designated by the US Postal Service. So the post office is saying we can't deliver these ballots based on their address. Now, put it in perspective, an average county runs about 2% UAAs. So what that means is out of all the ballots they send back out, about 2% get kicked back. There was 690,000 ballots in LA County alone that were kicked back. That is not 2%, that is 12%. So that gave us the first red flag. And this is the way an investigator would work. You go, okay, there's a red flag. So let's dig in. So then we pulled some more records, did a bunch of FOIA, CPRA, so on and so forth. And we got back, and this is the kicker, 130,000 of those undeliverable as addressed actually voted. Why is that important? Generally, less than 1% of the people that do not receive their ballots do a request at the county election office, or they go in and ask for a provisional. Well, that's 20%. That's astronomical, the number I'm talking about right now. There is malfeasance there. It's clearer than day. Mathematically, it is impossible to get 12% UAAs and then get 20% of those people that never got their ballot to somehow get a ballot and vote. Massive red flag. So we're on the right track. So we did some more FOIA requests, and they did what we thought they would do. They did what's called a FOIA pause on us. And that means that they needed another 14 days to come up with information. During that time, what happened is another 400,000 ballots showed up, and they would not give us any information in regards to that. So we said, okay, so we pressured them for info on that. And then we specifically asked for something. I cannot disclose what it is, but in regards to the 130,000 ballots, if they would give us that information, it would be the nail in the coffin. It would be over. The deep state cabal would fall. That's how huge this information is. They panicked. What they did was unprecedented. They sent us back a letter that says, we don't know when we can give you this information, and we don't even know when we will contact you saying we can give you the information. So that's an indefinite stall, is what that is,
How
because they
legal is
know.
that?
What's that?
How legal is that?
It's not. It's not at all. In fact, I'm glad you said that, because now we are having to take this thing to the whole nother level, because they know they're illegal, but they're willing to be illegal and go to jail, because that's how much this is damaging to them. I think I got to give Chris the credit, did it just perfectly, set them up perfectly with the right questions, not all at once, one at a time, then another, then another, then another, that back them into a corner where there's nothing they can do. The only thing they can do is pretend like they can't give us the information. And that's the game they're playing right now. So the ramifications of this is astronomical. So what are we doing? I'm going to within the next couple of days file a California Hovel Title III administrative complaint. Right, and this is high priority because there's actually a statute on that runs out on, I believe, Friday. So I'm on that right now. And I'm also going to do a Section 8 written notice to the state and the county, because there's a time frame on that. We're doing a preservation retention. I'm actually doing a preservation retention demand on LA County and the registered voters, county clerk. Right. I'm doing something else that we cannot disclose because it will give the enemy our game plan, but it's huge. It involves our electorate. And then where I'm also filing a writ of mandamus in Superior Court, and possibly going pro se and doing a whole lawsuit. So this is big. A lot is coming in regards to this. And we're going to need as much support that we possibly can to get the information out and the word out, because I believe this is the end of the deep state cabal. And like a lioness backed into a corner, protecting their children, they're going to go out fighting.
They've lost their minds.
Yes.
Yeah, they're in full-on panic mode. I mean, when they're doing these midnight sessions, legislative sessions, to try and shut up Nick Shirley and other investigative reporters like you and me, to fine us, put us in jail, force us to take down our content, all against our U.S. Constitution and our Bill of Rights and our rights to free speech and freedom of the press. It's insane what's happening here in California. They've lost their ever-loving minds, trying to stop law enforcement from investigating fraud. What was that Prop 73 thing or whatever that was? Actually, it's not even a proposition. What they're doing with, is it 37 or 39? No, 37 is a good one. There's all kinds of stuff coming up this November. If people are not paying attention, we're screwed. We are absolutely screwed. But it doesn't matter. They're throwing caution to the wind, like I was talking about just last week with Juan O'Savin. They've gone rogue, the state of California. They don't even care at this point, because they see the light or the darkness for them at the end of the tunnel. I really believe that now.
Yeah, I think they can see their
but the people aren't waking up, Lewis. Without the people coming along and getting on board, we Californians are just absolutely the pinnacle of making stupid decisions for putting crappy people in office and positions of tremendous power. At least half the population, unfortunately, even if we uncover all this fraud, there's still a whole lot of people who want this crap, because all they care about is their freebies. Most of them are government employees, and
Charlie, there is, but I'm going to dispute you on one thing.
What?
The reason why it appears that a lot of people want this stuff is because we haven't had a free and fair election in so many decades, that you don't have somebody in a position of authority explaining to people what's really happening. Because if somebody was in there, like myself, or somebody that's willing to tell you what's happening because they got in through a free and fair election, then the people would go, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be such a knucklehead. Right. So the reason why the brainwashing is so effective is because you have the propaganda media in collusion with really unelected officials, if we're going to be honest about it, and the deep state apparatus, the senior executive service, the CIA and the FBI, they're all colluding together, in my opinion. Right. So what happens is that massive MK Ultra propaganda doesn't even allow people to go past, unless they have a discernment like Charlie does. They can't get past it. Therefore, they're just like, I'm going to buy the narrative. That's how deep and dark this is. I mean, I can actually, I did a presentation really at Juan's event not too long ago, and I proved, and people at first were like, wait a second. And I proved literally through historical documents how there is something called the Illuminati, and they are still in control. And that's how deep and dark it really is. It's a satanic.
It's satanic. It's all satanic.
It is absolutely satanic agenda that we're working within.
Yeah. And the reason why I brought Juan up is he said something that, I don't get all these conspiracy theory guys on the show normally. Because there's plenty of other people who will do that. I'm more interested in personal stories and so on, but I've really come to respect him. And he said something that just stunned me. And I thought, is that possible? And then he explained to me and everybody watching exactly why it is possible and why it's going to happen. He's quite convinced we're not going to have a midterm election. I mean, we will. But it's not going to happen on the first Tuesday of November. It's going to be postponed, because all this fraud has not been reined in, including my own elected representatives, who I can't even get to frickin' talk about it. They act like, and guys like I mentioned Tom McClintock earlier, I'll never forget when he said on the air, well, there's not enough proof that there was enough fraud to adversely affect the presidential election. Not enough proof? How much do you need? Even just the U.S. Constitution is very clear, even if there's just a question of it. Do over.
Well,
don't accept it.
You're exactly right.
But Juan says it's not even going to happen. What do you think about that?
Well, I believe, and I actually sent a letter to President Trump about a year ago, indicating that we need some form of military action to support our elections.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the reason for this right now is because I would love the citizens to run the elections, but the reality is they don't even know what they're doing, right? Because we've been brainwashed for so long. There has to be some type of control mechanism. It absolutely just needs to be a paper ballot, same day vote, same day count. It's very, very simple. It's been done for thousands of years, literally. That same day vote, same day count on paper, and it's been very, very successful until the introduction of the fakery and the machines, which changed everything. But what we're really working against is so much sinister than we think. And it's the ones we need to be most afraid of. And I've called this out for a long time, are the people that appear to be on our side.
Yes.
Those are the ones that we should
Like
be the
some
most
registrar of voters I could think of and name.
exactly. So
Yes. And
you
that was part of your campaign. You went as far, if tell me if I'm wrong here, you hit every single ROV office during your campaign when you went on the road in the entire state of California. You hit all, how many counties we
all
have?
58.
58.
I went to all
You hit
58.
you went to every single one of them and you asked a lot of questions,
That's right.
direct questions, but in a nice way. And you got some info that you're about to unveil to all of us, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's pretty fascinating. So we have to be careful though of some psyops. I'm going to give you one great psyop in LA County. There's a big one now, and there's people that are perpetuating it, which I think they may be innocent, but they're perpetuating it because they believe it. Here's a psyop. All we need to do is expose the homeless voters because there was a 43,000 difference between Nynthia Top Ramen and Spencer Pratt, right? And there just happens to be 43,000 homeless. That's a complete psyop because the baddies did not get 43,000 homeless to sign it. They may have got a 1,000 or 2,000, maybe 500, 800. I don't know. Now, is that real election fraud? It absolutely is. But they would use that as an excuse if they put all their focus on that to say, well, it is election fraud. We're going to fix this, but we can't overturn the election because the margins aren't there. That is a psyop. And these are what people on our side continually to do. They get us focusing on things we shouldn't focus on. And I'm going to give you another one that's going to blow people away. The machines don't have access to the internet. And everybody says, yes, they do have access to the internet. And that's what we need to prove. Well, what if we didn't prove they had access to the internet? Then we lose immediately because the baddies figure these things out. Did they have access to the internet previously? They absolutely did. Do they now? I would bet in most cases they do not. And they do not need to. And
No.
here's the thing, we put all our eggs in one basket. Like, let's prove, and these are people pushing this narrative, and they already know that when we prove or don't prove that, then we're screwed. It's over, right? We need to be very careful of the narratives that are out there. And I'm going to tell people real quick why I know that you don't need access to the internet. Because the way it works is the voting started on May 4th. I went to the ROVs and asked the question. Unilaterally, all of them said we start processing ballots when they're coming in. Some may wait 2 days, some may wait a week until they get them going, but they're processing them a month ahead of time, right? So those numbers are already being tallied. They know exactly what's going through the system. They claim they don't know, which is fine. And they say the systems are air gapped. They don't, which by the way doesn't mean it doesn't have access to the internet, but that's another psyop. They say, so we don't have access to the internet. There's no way we can cheat an election. And I say, why is that? So I set them up with questions. They didn't really know this was an investigation. They just thought I was there exploring the elections.
Right.
So I set them up with specific questions.
Campaigning. You were campaigning.
Yeah. Well,
You're in
actually,
the county. I'm going to stop into the registrar of voters office
right.
and just.
But I couldn't.
introduce
I
myself.
never stopped in as a candidate because that's illegal. So I always said I'm not
Oh,
campaigning. They said I understand, and I never asked for a vote. Never did anything like that because you
okay.
can't do that within 100 feet of their office.
I did not know that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, one time we just pulled a bus up next to it, and they're out taking pictures of me. Oh my God! Look at this bus is right next to our office. As I stop. So, anyways, So then the questions were involving that, and I said, okay, so how does this work? They say, well, in essence, on June 2nd at 8 p.m. when the polls close, everything's tallied in this computer. We put a USB drive in there, we download the information and move it to a system on June 2nd, 8 p.m. that is open to the complete internet. It goes to the media, it goes to the Secretary of State, so on and so forth, and it goes to their websites, right? So at that moment, it's open. And this is why it does not need to be accessible to the internet, because if you look the way this works, and we'll just use Spencer Pratt's race as an example, he's doing fantastic, he's doing fantastic, he's doing fantastic, right? And then it stops, stall, everything pauses. What's going on? And
We got
then
a whole bunch of new ballots.
the next batch, which I believe are the UAAs, the next batch that they start to count, suddenly Pratt is in a nosedive and Nithya Top Raman is going up like this. Think about that, because the numbers were loaded in. They already had the ballots on the outside. But you know what they can tell us? They can tell us, they go, Lewis, those do not have access to the internet. So there's no way the election could have been stolen. That's a complete diversion from what's really going on. So we have to be careful at some of these tropes that are out there, like recounts. Recounts always fail because they're not physically touching the ballots in most cases, and the ballots they are handed to audit would not be the fraudulent ballots.
And what are they counting? Fraudulent ballots.
Exactly.
So I'm
And
insisting on a recount of the fraudulent ballots. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. If you don't know what you're looking for in that recount, and by the way, the other problem is most of the recounts have provisions in there that specifically state you are only to match the ballot to the number counted. You're not supposed to look at the ballots. You're not supposed to feel and touch the ballots. You're not supposed to say, I don't think something's right with this ballot. Those are literally in what they're allowed to do. That should be a major red flag there. So of course the ballots are going to match the numbers because they're putting in fraudulent ballots. That's the key. They know how to play this game. I can tell you the CIA has been doing this for about 70 years. None of this stuff is new. They've just done it in other countries. As of late, it's been done in our country, and this is why we're in it.
Because it's time to bring down the U.S. CIA is all about the world, new world order, one world government. I'm quite convinced at this point. Ian Trottier was just on my show before you.
Yeah,
I learned all kinds of crap about the CIA. That's got to go. Yeah, defund. If you're going to defund anything, defund the CIA. I'm quite convinced that has to happen.
I agree completely. Absolutely. We are in a captured operation, and I believe it's from the internal aspect in the shadow government that is running everything by proxy using senior executive service, CIA, FBI to do their bidding.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't trust the FBI much either. Even under Kash Patel, I still don't trust the FBI.
No, in fact, I just posted something. People got mad at me. They're like, Kash is doing a wonderful job. I go, well, I will change my perspective when I see some elite globalists being indicted, right? It's pretty simple. We can talk a good game and spew everything out of our mouth, but until I see that, the rubber has to hit the road, in my opinion.
Yeah, but they have brought up James Comey and Letitia James, and look at that. We had some dirty judge let them wriggle out, and that hasn't. And we can't do anything about these dirty judges that were put in place under Obama, under Biden, and they're subverting every single thing that my president's trying to do and get done, and his cabinet and his administration, everything. And it's all it's that lawfare crap going on. They're getting away with it. And until we get a super majority in the House and the Senate, we can't do anything about those judges.
And how do you get?
We can't do anything about those judges. We can't impeach them. We can't do anything. This is insane. They're appointed judges. We can't get rid of them. You can't impeach them unless you have a solid majority in the House and the Senate. We're not showing up for the midterm elections. We conservatives don't even bother to vote. And if we do, well, it's only a presidential election. Okay, I voted for the president. I've done my duty. We don't vote anything else on the ballot. We suck. I put so much of what's happening in California on us, Lewis. We
Yeah,
suck.
well, it's
We don't show up
twofold.
for primaries and midterms. We barely vote the whole ballot. We don't even put any thought or process or investigation into the judges who do have to be elected. We don't
That's
put any
right.
thought into it. We don't do any kind of research. We suck. We're getting the government that we deserve. The people who get the government they want are the people who show up. We're not showing up.
Well,
It's so frustrating.
we are not showing up. In fact, I say our most valuable thing is the elections, and if we could just spend 2 hours on that's it. It only takes 2 hours to evaluate all the candidates, the propositions, everything going through, and make a conscious decision on who to vote for. And we're not doing that, right? It's where the conservatives have been fed so much bread and circus that it's more important to get their kids to 17 soccer practices than go and vote. That, by the way, has enabled the deep state cabal to steal elections also. And I'm going to
Of
explain
course.
how they work symbiotically together. Us not showing up makes it a lot easier, and it actually motivates them to work on stealing elections because they know the apathy on the conservative side, right? So therefore, and I can give you the greatest example of that in the world because I studied this deeply. In 2008, Orange County, California, had the complete board of supervisors was elected Republican on that night. Ballots came in the middle of the night. By the morning, all 5 Republican seats were switched to Democrat. And here's the telltale sign. All 5 of those Republicans came out and they said, you know what? We will get them next time.
Yeah, that's what they say.
They
I
didn't say,
never
well,
want to hear those
we're going
words
to
come
fight
out of the
this.
mouth of any central committee anymore. We'll get them next time. Shut up. Shut up.
Exactly.
Stop saying
Exactly.
that. We had our opportunity. You blew it. We all blew it. I
Well,
can't
in this,
blame the politicians anymore for all that's coming down on us in this state. They're just they're just doing their father's work as quickly as possible for his time is short. I blame us for not getting involved, for giving up. La 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 la. Not even bothering to show up for city council meetings or board of supervisor meetings, even know what's going on. Trust me, the left's showing up at every school board meeting with
yeah,
their
they
blue
are.
hair and their pierced lips and everything else. They're showing up. They're there and they're creating things and they're influencing our youth, setting them up for the Star Trek utopia that they dream is going to be, including using Islam for, I mean, they're using each other. Marxists, Islam, same damn thing, only just use different weapons. But it's all about tyranny and oppressive government, and all in the name of everybody's going to be equal. They can't be having the United States of America with our pesky little Bill of Rights and our U.S. Constitution in the way. You got to get rid of the U.S. and you take down the U.S. by taking down the most powerful states. Texas, California, New York, and now Florida. Take them down, infiltrate. 24 mosques built in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas within a year. 24.
It's
Now they're
crazy.
doing a 400-acre smart city that's going to be all Islam, calling it.
Yep.
They got some kind of cutesy little name for it too to make it sound all nice and wonderful. But you and I, we're not going to get to go in. We won't even get to buy a house there. We're excluded. What other religion gets to do that and establish their own Sharia law and make their own town? What other religion? Branch Davidians? They moved to Waco, Texas. Just leave us alone. We just want to live our lives and worship God the way we want to worship God. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you don't. You don't get to do that. Ruby Ranch or whatever. It's just, you don't get to do that. But yet we're sitting back and letting Islam do that. It's so dirty. And we've got to step up and get involved because there's more of us than there are of them. I believe that, Lewis. And you've been on the road for
Yeah.
months up and down California. There's more of us than there are of them. They just have those solid districts like San Francisco and Los Angeles with such massive populations, and they're so easily fooled. And all they want is their cushy little freebies. That's all they care about. Screw your freedoms. And it's the right that's allowing that to happen. I'm
Well,
glad you ran for office. I just respect that so much. You want to be attain hero status in my book. Run for office. I don't care what it is. I just think that's extraordinary. You never run for anything before. You're a filmmaker. You're an entrepreneur. You're a very smart businessman, and you decided to chuck it all and put it all on the line, including your own money, to run for governor of California. Thank you for doing that. What happens from here? You're exposing the fraud. I had lunch with Clint Curtis a couple of 2 or 3 weeks ago now up in Shasta County, who lost his bid to be reelected as registrar of voters. The guy who got rid of the machines, and then the state had to come together and pass another law to force him to use the machines. And then he came up with different ways to go, okay, well, we're going to monitor what the machines are doing, and we're going to bring proof if it doesn't match the actual vote. He's the one that confided in me, Charlie. There's all these ballots that came in that feel different.
mhm.
The paper is thinner, the paper's thicker. The printing on there was all too perfect. It looks like it had been printed, not filled out by hand. All these ballots came in and they're coming through. That's why I said, you're going to demand a recall of what? All the fake phony ballots? Where did they come from? Was that Vistaprint? Vistaprint making these ballots? Where did they come from? Who paid for those? Do you have any inkling on that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've been talking to people from Shasta for a long time. I don't talk publicly a lot about it. I'm letting their do their thing out of respect for them. But I was well aware of what was going on there, almost in real time of what they're finding. And I think there's big things to come in regards to that. And this is what's so important is we all need to work separately yet together. And what I mean by that is I would say every single candidate should get out there and start pulling records within inside of your counties and really force the investigations on some of this because they're so good at hiding things. Some people won't find it, somebody else may find it. And the only way that we're going to win this is collectively. And the biggest beautiful thing about conservatives is also their Achilles heel. They are hyper independent, right? Which is great, but they don't play well with others often, and they don't take direction very well. Where the Democrats, right, will like lemmings jump off a cliff because they have a leader to tell them to do that,
Yep.
right? The conservatives, you ask them, even if you are extremely benevolent and on target, and you say, "Here's what I need you to do," well, we could do it a different way or a better way, or I don't have time for that, or they listen to these CIA operatives out there. I'm going to call Sean Hannity one, by the way, that have told everybody that don't speak up if you're conservative. It's not conservative like. Do not protest and do not boycott. Well, that's exactly what we should do. We should do
Exactly right.
all of that. But the reason why you have these top level conservatives saying don't do that because they know how effective it is. We really should be using the tactics of the left with our value set because our value set alone will resonate with virtually everybody, even people that are on the left, because they just don't know what they don't know. That value set will resonate with them. So we must use the tactics of the left. But we've been so brainwashed and propagandized to think that it is not conservative like to step up and do something. Guys, that's what J6 was all about, by the way. The whole J6 setup was so there would be an example of if you step up, you're going to jail. Well, let me just put that in perspective. Less than 1% of the people that were there, I was there, went to jail. Now, we did have the FBI at our house. We had them sitting outside our door for probably a year and a half, but we didn't go to jail. I think there's other reasons why we didn't go to jail also because we had evidence that would have made them look really bad. But my point is the reason why they went after those 1,000 J6ers is so they can hold them up as an example of what's going to happen to you if you step up
There it is.
anywhere in the
Absolutely.
country. That
That's
was
right.
a complete psyop. and we
Yeah.
bought into it wholesale.
Yeah.
We need to be better than that.
Amen. If only we had one website we could go to where, I mean, these candidates, you said candidates need to pull these records and so on and so forth. Most of them don't even know how to do that. And they put so much time and effort, their own energy and their own money into running for office, even little assembly districts and so on. And they lost and they just feel defeated and they just want to go away and forget the whole thing happened and never try again, which I think was the whole point. Try and make sure that nobody else steps up and tries. But they don't know where to go. I don't think they know where to go. Maybe if there was one website where people could go and actually, come together and share this kind of information. So, do you know of anything like that?
Well, I'm actually working on something called Freedom in Action. That it's a website slash social media portal where people can not only communicate with each other. They, for example, if there's an event, say they're trying to put transgender or gay media into a middle school, right? There's an event calendar up there that you can search under your parameters of how many miles you're willing to travel. You're willing to travel 100 miles or 500 miles. That event will pop up for you on this app. It's called the FIA app. And you'll be able to say, okay, now let's organize and we can get a bunch of people there. So we're not only doing that, but part of this whole website will be strategies on how we can take our country back from every level, from our health to politics, to how we can operate ourselves within a parallel society and within the construct of board of supervisors meeting. So I think it's going to be extraordinarily powerful to give people the tools, and I believe it's going to make a huge difference for everybody.
I had no idea that Lewis was working on that. When I set him up, I was thinking he was going to say, yeah, go to screwbiggov.com and let's get this started. I had no idea he was actually creating this and in the process of it. I did not know.
Yep, been doing it for years, spent a lot of money on it,
Awesome.
and we're really close to launch.
I love it. Will you come back on and tell us where to find it when you do?
100%.
All right, my friend. In the meantime, where do we go to get in touch with you and follow what you're doing? Are you doing a podcast or any new films coming out?
Yeah, well, I'm working on a series called The True Awakening. It'll dive into some conspiratorial stuff, which will be fun. But if you go to screwbiggov.com, you can click on any of my social media and go there. And the reason why I say go to the website is because I get deleted off of social media often, so we just have to put up a new link. So
You and me
it's all
both.
about it's all about the website now. So go to screwbiggov.com, get on the newsletter. If you want to help support our election efforts, there's ways to do that. So we're doing a lot of great work. I've got a beautiful team behind me. I'm very, very blessed, and I feel well protected. And first time I've ever said this on air, every time somebody knocks on the door, I'm like, okay, is that going to be the FBI? Who's going to be on the other side of this door? Right? It's just something that's in my mind because of the harassment that we've gone through. That being said, though, I think we're divinely protected, and my wife does too. So I believe we're going to be in great shape.
Amen. So pray for Lewis, pray for his safety and the safety of his family and those who are working with him and for him. Pray for them, for their safety. Thank you, my friend. Talk to you real soon. Stand by. Don't go away yet, okay? It's so important that we support people like him, that we get involved. Even if we just cheer him on or even if we financially help, whatever we can do, we have to. We have to. This is the hill that we're going to have to thrive on. I'm not going to say we're dying on it. I'm saying we're going to thrive on it. Okay? Come on. Let's start with getting you registered to vote if you're not yet. Registertovote.ca.gov. It's real easy. They made it really easy for all the rock the vote. Remember all that crap? Trying to get the kids to come out and throw every conservative out of office. The ones that have been indoctrinated by all the colleges. Rock the vote. Remember? Anyways, it's registertovote.ca.gov. Easy. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. Like this show, by the way, too, please. That'll help with the algorithms. Hit that like button wherever you're watching. Sorry, do over. Erase.
Erase.
May God bless you. I sounded like Senator Scott Wiener of San Francisco there for a second. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. Most importantly, though, America, bless God.